Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Stuart Smith.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Well, it is a pleasure to speak on this Members' Bill, the Public Collections and Solicitations Disclosure of Payment Bill. And I'd like to begin, Mr Speaker, by congratulating my colleague, Matt Ducey. It is remarkable that he would have a bill pulled out of the ballot so quickly. And I wonder, sir, if it's Bedian luck or the luck of a Bedian that has led to this fortuitous event, but whatever it is, it's Matt. I can't become a Bedian, I suspect, but perhaps you could give me some advice on how I might get some luck going my way in that department. But Mr Speaker, I have to say, after hearing the previous speaker, I'm confused, or perhaps he is, on a number of issues that were raised there. But I'll come to that in a moment, Mr Speaker. But New Zealand, as it has been stated earlier on in the piece, is that we are a very generous bunch. We give, as my colleague pointed out, $40 on average per person per month to charities, and that's a phenomenal amount of money when you think about it. But that relies on people's confidence that the people they're giving and the charity that they're giving that money to is going to be through to the charity, is going to achieve the things that they think that it's been collected on the basis of. And I don't think there's anything wrong with people being paid to solicit money on behalf of a charity or other organisation, or signatures indeed for a petition. But there is a rider on that, so long as the person who is being approached to and solicited from is aware of that, and they can make that decision. It's about transparency, and unfortunately we haven't really had that until today, or until this bill comes through. And it looks like it's going to be supported across the House to go through to the Select Committee. Now, a number of the questions that were raised by the previous speaker, I think that they are valid questions, or some of them were at least, but the Select Committee is the place and the process in Parliament where those particular issues can be addressed and fully canvassed, and that is where bills get their polishing and get all the bugs out of them, hopefully, before they come back to the House, Mr Speaker. And I think that is where this bill should go, to the Select Committee, and I'll certainly be supporting it to that stage. There was a point made earlier about, when you put your coin in a bucket, for example, then the person has to chase you down the street and get your tell people that they have actually will be paid for collecting that money. It quite clearly states here that before those people must be told before any solicitation or collection occurs. And I think we've talked also about signatures on a petition. It may very well change a person's decision whether they're supporting a petition or not, if they find the people soliciting those signatures are being paid. So I think it's right and proper that we should have that transparency. But most of us, I suspect, in this House have had plenty of contact with charitable organisations and public good organisations, and most of us, I suspect, have done a lot of work on behalf of those organisations, raising money for the local sports club, or with a bucket, or selling sausages at a barbecue on behalf of yes, Mr Speaker, on behalf of a charity, and all of those situations. And certainly in my case, the people that I've been getting money off or asking money and for support for those causes have been well aware that I'm not being paid, well aware that the money is going directly to those organisations that I'm working on behalf of. And I think it's a great thing that New Zealanders keep their confidence in those particular organisations, and that we really celebrate our volunteers and our voluntary organisations and the way that they're funded in New Zealand. There have been some examples, Mr Speaker, of behaviour that this bill will help to alleviate. Certainly there were a couple of two monks and a nun, or they were people masquerading as monks and a nun in Auckland were arrested or chased off the streets for soliciting money. So it's with great pleasure, Mr Speaker, that I support this bill and commend it to the House. Thank you.